皆さん、英語のソータです。
And I'm Riley.
Riley, I have a sore throat. You did, right? So that kind of
Yeah,
virus is going around.
and I kind of still do like a little bit.
uh, um, this time I had a fever last night, but now it's okay. But a couple weeks ago, I had sore throat, and then at the time I didn't have a fever. And then I heard there is a kind of virus that's going around, a little sore throat and no fever. But how about you? Did you have a
That's
fever?
probably what I had. Yeah, I haven't had a fever at all.
Then yeah, you're always interacting with kids, so it might be easy to get a virus.
Yeah, that's true.
はい。皆さん、今日は僕はすごく喉が痛くてですね、ちょっとこう、ゆっくり話になるかもしれませんが、昨日の夜はね、すごいこう、今日は金曜日、だから木曜かの夜は昨日熱があったんですけど、だからなんか寝苦しくて、でも朝起きたら熱はね、なくなってたんですけど、僕ちょこちょこその喉は痛くなりやすくて、ちょっと前もなってたんですけど、その時は熱なくて、今そういうの流行ってるって言うじゃないですか。で、ライリーもちょうど先週か、オールイングリッシュの時に言ってましたね。喉痛いってね。なので、そう、今そういうウイルスが流行ってるかもしれないので、皆さんも気をつけていただけたらなと思います。もしかしたらオンラインで移るかもしれませんよね。They might catch our virus through podcast。なので、はい、ちょっとマスクなどしていただいて気をつけていただけたらと思いますが、ちょっと2点お知らせがあります。喉も痛いのでね、また話長いなってならへんように、ささっていきたいなと思うんですけど、まず1つ目が、スピークアウトが増刷いたしました。インスタグラムにも発表したんですけど、皆さんがたくさん応援してくださったおかげです。なかなかね、もう今の時代、こう、増刷とかかからないそうなので、あんだけ頑張ってもあかんなとかって、ちょっと心折れてたんですけど、増刷のお知らせが来て、とても嬉しかったです。皆さんのおかげです。で、もう一つが、聞く作という、聞く単シリーズありますよね。僕、声になりまして、聞いて英作文するっていう新しい、聞く作のシリーズの立ち上げに関わらせていただいて、僕は声になりました。なので、著者さんは別にいらっしゃるので、ピックアップしてる単語の内容だったりは別の方が選ばれてるんですけど、僕が声を担当してますので、もしよかったら、本屋さんで結構一緒に並んでること多いと思うのでね、はい、ぜひご興味あったら見てみてください。ライリーは any announcement about your paternity leave or
We're recording this Friday morning, and today is my last day of work, so that's exciting for me. Then I should probably have about a week before the baby comes. We'll see. Of course, babies don't really follow a schedule, so we'll see if the baby comes sooner or later. But yeah, I'm excited to not work for a little bit, even though, yeah, once the baby comes, I'll definitely be plenty busy.
So the due date is next week.
Almost the 22nd. It's like 2 Mondays from now, I think, is the due date.
Yeah, did you say that? Like 22nd? Or has it changed?
It hasn't changed.
It hasn't.
I don't know if I ever said the 22nd for sure, but that's what it's always been.
Okay. Yes, ライリーからのアナウンスメントは皆さん、こちらでございます。今日が最後らしくて、パタニティリー、育児休暇の、違うわ。育児休暇に入る最後の日なので、今朝に収録してるんですけどね、今日仕事を終えたら、そう、育児休暇に入るということなので、またインスタとかね、いろんなところで、こう、報告があると思いますので、待ってていただけたらなと思います。はい。そうですね。単語は、ライフなチェッカーレッスンのインスタグラム専用を見ていただいて、YouTube 見ていただくと、字幕が CC で出るかなと思います。で、僕たちの、インスタとか SNS もぜひフォローしてみてください。So, are ready, Riley?
Yep.
そうたと、
Riley no 台本なし英会話 lesson episode 362.
All right, what is the topic for episode 362, Riley?
It's what we're careful about while teaching.
はい、今回のお題は、僕たちがお仕事をしているとき、ティーチングのお仕事をしているときに気をつけていることです。今回は、お題のリクエストをいただいておりまして、読ませていただきます。インスタグラム英語のソータの DM にていただきました。朝香さんからです。えーっと、Oh, do you remember Asaka-san? She came to our event in Sendai.
Not by name. I'm sure if I saw her face, but not by name.
Yeah, she was having dinner with us and then two times. Yeah, she attended
Okay,
our
okay,
event two
okay, okay.
times. And then she had a Japanese teaching job.
Right, right. Yes,
Hmm?
yes. Okay, yes, I do
うんう
remember.
ん。そうそう、その方ですね。読ませていただきます。ちょっと待ってくださいよ。もしよろしければ、ソータさんとライリーさんのティーチングフィロソフィーとコーチングで気をつけていることや意識していることについて聞いてみたいです。以前、ライフなシェイカーレッスン仙台開催に参加したとき、とても印象に残った出来事がありました。一緒にお話しした方が、初めは恥ずかしくてみんなの前で発言はできないと言って発言をしていませんでした。しかし、レッスンの最後の時間に自ら手を挙げて発言をしていました。その時に、ソータさんとライリーさんの英会話レッスンは、英語の能力向上だけではなく、人の心まで動かすすごい力があると非常に感銘を受けました。ありがとうございます。私も仕事で2、3年、コーチングや言語、日本語を教える仕事をしました。が、人の心を動かす、例えば、試験合格まで一緒に搬送したかったが、目標途中で諦めてしまう生徒がいた。あるいは自分の発言に自信が持てない生徒の発言を増やすことができなかった、など、閉じるのは、すごく難しかったなと感じております。そこでソートさんとライリーさんがコーチングをする際に意識していることがあれば教えていただきたいです。とのことです。Yeah, when she attended our event, she felt like we inspired everyone or encouraged everyone to, for example, say something in the audience. And the person didn't want to say anything in front of everyone at first, but around the last part, she did. And then, I mean, the person did. And then Asaka-san felt, oh, this event is really inspiring, or the way Riley and I teach English is really inspiring. So,
Hmm.
what are you careful with when teaching? And in her case, I don't know if she is still doing that, but she was teaching Japanese. But at the time, she couldn't encourage her students to take JNPP or that kind of test name. I forgot.
Yeah, JLPT.
JLPT. Yeah. Her students gave up. And also her students couldn't confidently say his or her opinions in front of everyone. So that's kind of her regret. So yeah,
Hmm.
how can we um, move people's hearts through teaching and motivate people? That's what she wants to know. So how about you?
Um,
Sorry, what are you
yeah.
careful about? Yeah, when teaching.
Okay. I mean, I think for me, because most of the time, even when I'm teaching kids, most of the time I'm teaching like conversational English.
Mhm,
I'm rarely focused on like the grammar. I mean, I'll teach it, but it's not the main focus. So mostly my goal is conversational English, and then because of that, I want to make sure that my classroom or my lesson is always a place where people are comfortable talking.
mm,
Um, and I think that, mm, how can I say, like, what I can do there is I can make sure that everybody gets a chance to speak and that when everybody speaks that that I listen to them and that I do my very best to try to understand what they want to say. I think sometimes um especially because my students are speaking a second language,
mm,
sometimes my first thought of what they're trying to say might be a little bit different from what they actually want to say.
mm,
Um, and I think even if the English is a little bit uh wrong. I'll say,
Mm.
it, it's kind of my job to make sure that I know what they want to say and then to help them be able to say it clearly next time.
Mm. Yeah, so you always try to understand what they really want to say, and then you repeat what they have said or something.
Yeah, well, okay, no, we're getting into like actual teaching methods now. Um, so yeah, it depends. If a student makes a small mistake that I think it does not impact my understanding,
Mhm.
I often won't even say anything if they just do it once.
Mhm.
If they make the same mistake multiple times, then I will correct them. Um, or often I'll do what's called a soft correct,
Mhm.
where you just repeat what they said, but you use the correct English.
Mhm.
If it's an error that is, obviously makes it so that I can't understand, then I have to kind of ask, like, oh, what, like, did you mean to say this, or maybe you meant to say this, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But my preferred way to do it is just to soft correct, to kind of say this is the
Mhm.
correct way. Not even say this is the correct way to say it. I just repeat it, but correctly.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, you're right. At the event, I think that's what we always do, or yeah, perhaps every time I might be doing that. After someone has said something, so what you want to say was that blah 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 blah. It's not about correction, but as you said, maybe they want to feel like their English makes sense, and also teachers or other people understand what they have said. So to make it possible, I always try to say, so your point is blah 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 blah. Then I want to let everybody know what the person had said. That's kind of what I always do at the event, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so maybe you do that because you want the students to feel like they have communication with you. That's the point.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm. I understand. いや、一回ちょっと訳しましょうかね。確かに、まずライリーはこう会話してるっていうところを感じてもらうことが大事という。なので、この文章、あの文章とかっていうよりも、こう会話っていう。なので、そうですね。ちょっと僕も無意識でしてる部分もあるんですけど、イベントの時とか、どなたかが何か言ってくださった時は、あ、つまりこうこうこうでこうでああでこういうことですねっていうところ、やっぱりこう、ポイントが例えばね、ちょっと周りに伝わってない時があるかもとかね、こう補足した方がいいかもという点も含め、そこでもう一回言い直すっていうのは、その方にとっても、あ、伝わってるんだっていう自信にもなったり、ね、あ、こういうふうに言えばいいんだってね、思ってもらえたりという、まあそういう意味でこう、リピートすること、あるいは会話を感じてもらうことっていうのは一つ、確かに大切なポイントかなと思いましたかね。で、僕もイベントの時とか、本業の時は毎回してるかっていうとそうではない気もするんですけど、状況に応じてやってるかなと思いますかね。Yes, anything else? In my case, about lessons, one-way lessons or about events, I always try to make challenging questions because at some point people reach the point where they can speak English. But all the time, I think they want to keep growing up or they need to feel what their weakness is or what they need to do for their improvement. So all the
Mm,
time, what's your hobby or what do you do for your during your free time or those questions are too simple sometimes. So I always make kind of challenging questions, thought-provoking questions, so that they could all the time try studying harder. So this is kind of related to lesson making, but yeah,
yeah.
that's what I do. How about you? When you make a plan for your class, is there something you do?
Yeah, I mean, you basically in my one-way classes, I want to talk about things that I would talk about in real life.
Mm.
Like, I feel like a lot of times in English classes, I mean, maybe especially at lower levels, you do these kind of like role plays or you practice sentences that, I mean, people don't really say very often.
Mm.
Um, and so, yeah, in my lessons, I like to talk about things that I think are relevant. So, I mean, yeah, one of my classes is about kind of like current events, so I'll often do things from the news. And then in the other class, it's more what it's not current events, it's not news based, but I'll still try to pick a topic that is kind of like, I don't know, relevant to the season or something going on in my life or something going on in the world, even if it's not like we're not going to talk about the news, what do you think about Iran or whatever, but we might talk about like how to deal with conflict or
Mm.
something kind of related to Iran, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Mm. Yeah, for upper level students, they can handle those challenging questions. But when it comes to super lower level beginners, and then she or he wants to start learning English, and then they can say anything about anything in English. I and things like that. In that case, what kind of lesson would you like to make so that they could start learning English?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with adults, I don't have very much experience. Well, I don't have any experience with that,
Mm.
like at all.
Mm.
But I do it with kids. And I mean, with kids, it's kind of easy. You often will, or I often will make a game kind of where it gets the kids to use like the vocabulary a lot, or it gets them to use kind of the target sentence many ways. So like with kids, it's a little bit different because you want to make sure that when they're learning English, it's fun.
Mm.
Because the main difference between adult students and kid students is that
Mm.
adults want to be in the lesson. Adults actually want to learn English. They want to be there themselves, while kids usually don't, right?
Mm.
Kids would
Mm.
rather be watching YouTube or playing games or something like
Mm.
that. So I have to make it so that the English lesson itself is it it's not going to be as fun as YouTube or Minecraft or whatever, but it
Mm.
has to not be horrible. That's
Mm.
kind of my goal.
Mm. Yeah, the approach is totally different depending on who we teach. So
Yeah.
yeah, as you said about kids, they don't want to study, they just want to have fun. So yeah, in my case, that's opposite. I've never had, sorry. I don't teach kids so often, or in the past, I did, yeah, with a few, but only a few. So yeah, for me, it's kind of hard to make those lessons where I can make fun lessons, or I can talk about, YouTube or something like that. So yeah, the approach is really different. And that's another point. In lessons, everyone has different way of thinking or different characters. So I always change, the way I give them feedback based on what kind of person she is or he is, and about lessons too. So for upper level English learners, we can bring anything we like, as you do, like articles, or I can also make my, ideal questions I want to discuss with everyone. But sometimes it's really hard to do it with lower level or beginners. So at that time, I always have to think differently. So in your case, if you have to teach an adult who cannot speak English at all, and then you have, for example, 60 or 90 minutes private lesson, what would
Mhm.
you do? I think that's the thing people might be interested in, like listeners who want to improve or who want to teach.
Yeah, I mean that's hard. I mean, if it's if it's a new student,
Mm.
then you I think have to try to get to know them first
Yeah.
to and get to know what they want to talk about before you figure out what they can talk about. I think because if they want to talk about it, then they'll probably try harder to be able to talk about it, if that makes sense. So first you have to figure out, what what they are like and what they like, if
うん。
that makes sense.
うん。うん。
Um, and then try to talk about it in ways that they can. I mean, I I honestly think like for me, it would be pretty hard to teach an adult student from like absolutely zero
うん。
English.
うん。
Like I don't think I could do. I
あ
mean,
あ。
I could, but it wouldn't be worth for them. It wouldn't be worth it for me to teach them from zero.
う
Probably if
ん。
you're just starting out absolutely zero English, um, then you probably don't want to have a conversation class with a native teacher. Like
う
it's
ん。
not the right way to study at that point.
Yeah. In that case, it might be better for them to get a lesson from Japanese teachers. In the past, Japanese people often said, "Oh, I want to take a lesson from native teachers." But in my opinion, taking a lesson from native teachers doesn't necessarily mean that they can improve, especially for beginners. So, yeah, I mean, if our listeners are listening to this and then if they want to start learning English, maybe they don't understand this English though, if
Right.
their English level is zero. But yeah, it might be better to take a lesson from a Japanese teacher. One of the options. ちょっと一回訳しましょうかね。なんか今日はこんな感じで、through our conversations, I hope everyone can get what we're careful about when teaching のお話ができたらなと思うんですけど、そう、もう一個はなんか僕レッスンのトピックを作るとき、面白くないとやっぱいけないですよねというのはもう常に昔からずっとあって、で、僕10年くらいもう11年くらいなのかな。レッスン毎週毎週作ってるんですけど、こう同じトピックになったことなくて、で、例えば最近だったら Call Me By Your Name っていう映画を見まして、そのシーンで、昔って携帯がなかったからこそ、この別れというものが辛く、それと同時に、美しく見えるんだなって思ったシーンがあって、そこから派生させて、なかったがゆえに美しかったもの、良かったものっていうのは何なんでしょうか、昔っていうところから、ディスカッションをしたんですよね。とか、先週だったら、Islamic people の burial. I want to talk about it with you. Burial, um,
Okay.
in Japan. そう、についてね、土葬問題について、そう、ディスカッションをしたりとかね、先々週だったかな、いつかちょっと忘れましたけど、つまり、僕はレッスンメイキングするときに、常にやっぱその時代に合わせたもの、あるいは自分が感じて、なんかこう、感情が揺さぶられたものから、クリエイティブに、クエスチョンに絶対結びつけていくようにしているのと、あとは、ある程度やっぱりこう、やりごたえ感がないといけないと思うんですよね。で、学習歴もやっぱ長くなってくると、そう簡単なフリータイム何してますかとかね、自己紹介してくださいっていうようなトピックでは、人はやっぱ満足しないと思うんですよね。なので、仮にできなくても、後から、うわ、あのトピックもっとこう言いたかったって感情を揺さぶられるような、つまり課題が大きく残るような、その絶妙なバランスをね、見極めて、レッスンメイキングをしないといけないんじゃないかなというのが、僕はいつも思ってることなんですよね。なので、イベントの時にも、去年だったらね、ちょっと難しめの AI、何でしたっけWhat was the title we set last year for the event? AI、何だったっけ？
Uh, AI. Yeah, I don't
忘れ
remember.
たね。忘れましたね。そう。でも、AI にできて僕たちにできないこと、あれは AI にできて僕たちにできること、なんか、ごめんなさい。日本語おかしいかもですけど、それについてね、3時間ディスカッションしたりとか、その前だったら人を引きつけるスピーカーになりましょうっていうイベントだったりとか、なんかこう、トピック的にやりがいのある面白いものにしなきゃなっていうのは、いつもイベントの時も、レッスンの時にも考えてますかね。で、そこからライリーにどうやってレッスン作ってるのっていう質問をしまして、ライリーはこう、実際に自分がカフェとかね、レストランとかで人と会話したくなるような、それが時事ネタだったりとかニュースだったり、それをこう、会話にね、レッスンの中に持っていくっていうお話で、そう。ライリーのそのレッスンは結構記事を読んで回答するっていうことがね、ワンウェイの中で多くて。で、そこからもう一個掘り下げてたのが、 上級レベルの方であれば、やっぱそういう僕たちがやりたい会話っていうものを持っていっても対応してもらえると思うんですよね。それは僕も経験あるのでわかるんですけど。じゃあ次、もうめっちゃビギナーの方、本当に一から勉強して何にも喋れない方ってなった時に、どうアプローチするっていう質問に、広がってました。ここから言えることは、本当に人それぞれ、こう考え方とか性格とか、何が合うか合わないかとかね、本当に違うので、ここを見極めていくっていうのも、一個僕がティーチングで意識してることかなと思うんですね。で、人によっては例えば、もう感覚派の方もいて、もう文法のお話よりも逆に、なんでしょうね、that makes sense っていうのはこういう意味です。っていうのを日本語を挟んでお伝えした方がいい方もいらっしゃれば、もう日本語なしでここに関しては伝えた方が頭に入る方もいらっしゃれば、文法をちゃんと説明しないと使いこなせない方もいらっしゃれば、本当に時と場合に応じて、アプローチが本当に変わってくるんですよね。なので、誰に、どんな性格の方にお教えするのかっていうところで、ここは見極めていくっていうのも一個大事にしてるかなと。で、本当に初心者の方へのレッスンって一番難しいと思うんですけど、ライリーはお子さんにすることが多いということで、まずはMinecraft, you said?
Yeah.
What do you do with Minecraft?
I was just saying that they like to play Minecraft, right?
Mm. Mm.
So my class is not going to be as fun as Minecraft, but I have to make it fun enough so that they don't hate being in the class, basically.
Uh,
That's why I mentioned Minecraft.
what do you do? Oh, but you don't do with Minecraft.
Right,
It's
no, I
similar
don't.
to that. なるほどね。そっか。
No, no, it's not even similar. It's not even similar. I'm just making a comparison between something they like to do, Minecraft, and something they don't like to do,
あ
study.
あ、うんう
So I
ん
have
う
to
ん。
make my class not so bad,
うんうん
even
うん。
though it's not as fun as Minecraft,
あー
is what I meant.
Yeah, something fun like Minecraft ってことね。
Not kind of.
うんうん
Kind
うん。
of.
そっか。it was just an example ってことね。うんうん。
Right.
そう、マインクラフトでなんかレッスンするのかなと思ったけど、そうではなく、そんな感じの楽しいものをっていう。そう、僕もね、本当に初心者の方へのレッスンは、そう、最近個別レッスンも始めてね、その個別でやってるんですけど、なんか決められないですね。あ、この方は、まずはこっからやらないといけないなっていうところ。日本語から修正をしないといけない方もいらっしゃれば、とりあえずでも1分話してもらえますかね。何かクエスチョンを作って。ね、全く話せなくてもいいので。なので大切なのはやっぱり、とにかくまずは話して、見せてもらうことと、あとは慣れていくことですよね。ただ、ね、はい、話してくださいだけだと絶対成長もできなかったり、モチベーションもつながらないと思うので、そこからどうアプローチしていくのかっていうのはね、人それぞれあったりしますよね。Okay, anything else when teaching? What are you careful about?
Um, I mean, there's not I'm sure there's other things that I'm careful about, but like that's pretty much it. Like I just want to make sure that the students can talk because in my
うん、
classes that's always the goal. So I mean one thing also with if I do have like not zero but like
うん、
lower level students, then I don't want them to get too uh caught up
うん。
in the correctness of the
Yeah,
English
that's right.
because
うん、
for me it's much easier to understand someone if they just talk. Like,
うん、
I think most people can understand what you're trying to say, even if you don't say it 100% correctly.
yeah.
Even if you make some mistakes, people will understand you. And I think, especially for a lot of Japanese learners of English, the most important thing is being able to speak like fluidly, quickly, or a lot of I think especially Japanese people they know a lot of English. They have a lot of like vocabulary and grammar in their head from high school or whatever, the university entrance exams, but they struggle to say it, right? To be able to get it out of their head and into the world, so to
うん、
speak. And so I think for me, a lot of time, what I try to do with students is get them to just try to speak, try to get the English out, even if it's not exactly correct English, because most people will understand it anyway.
Mm, that's right. Yeah, if the person is silent, no one can get anything. But even with a few words, it's not a full sentence or something, that's okay because we can guess what the person is trying to say. So the most important one is to get them to talk.
Yes.
うんうん
Yeah.
うん。そう、本当それですよね。僕、本当に無言が一番っていうのは、レッスン生の方はわかる、この口癖だと思うんですけど、僕、もう無言が一番避けなあかんところっていう、とにかくなんか言いましょうっていう、もう本当それは大事ですよね。他なんか僕がね、ちょっとこれはリストアップした方がいいなと思って、パパッとリストアップしたのが、まずは褒めない。um, about feedback, I don't, exaggerate or I don't say, oh, your English is good or
Hmm.
oh, you did a good job. Most teachers do that so that, they can encourage students. But in my case, of course, when they have really improved their skills or when they have changed, I do. But usually I don't give some positive feedback. I don't exaggerate. So I just want to focus on the feedback aspect. How about you? How much or how often or how do you give them feedback, positive and negative?
Yeah. I mean, that's something that's very different with kids and adults. With kids, I give a lot of
Yeah,
positive
that's right.
feedback. With adults, not so much. I mean, I will occasionally like if if a student like pronounces a word very well, like a difficult word well, or they make an improvement in their pronunciation, I will usually say so.
Mm,
Or if they use some kind of uh interesting like idiom or something like that, I'll usually point it out.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I'm not like if I ask a student a question, a student gives me an answer, I don't say, "Wow, very good job," right? I just keep talking, right?
mm,
Because I think again, like I'm trying to kind of simulate,
mm.
well, not simulate. I mean, the conversations I have with a lot of my students are like real conversations, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's not kind of a game where we're pretending to have a conversation. We're really talking about whatever. Last night we talked about the World Cup, for example, right?
Mm, mm.
Um, and so like in a real conversation, the other person doesn't say, "Oh, great answer," like very good job, You just keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, it's a kind of teaching setting, so they want to get some positive feedback. So I really understand that, it might be better to talk like the real conversation, but at the same time, they're learning. So really, sometimes they might need some positive feedback. So in my case, I usually don't say good job or things like that, but every 3 months or yeah, regularly, I sometimes give feedback, but in your case, never.
I mean,
Sometimes.
like I said, if something
ADM.
strikes me or if I really notice
Uh-huh.
something, then
Mm,
yeah, I'll give feedback, but like not it, it's not like a designated time or anything like that.
mm,
I guess it's not regular. It's kind of
mm,
random almost.
mm. I understand.
Um,
Mm. Oh, go ahead.
yeah.
Mm. Oh, nothing else?
I
Okay.
mean,
Mm.
yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, I kind of think that like maybe it's difficult for students to feel as in a form of feedback, but I think that like a conversation that continues kind of is the feedback. Like if
Mm.
the conversation is continuing,
Mm.
then everything's going well,
Mm,
right?
mm, 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 mm.
Yeah.
なるほどね。そう、次、僕はなんか過度に褒めないっていうのいつもというか昔からで、まあ自分の性格的にお世辞を言えないっていうのもあるかもしれないんですけど、こう、結構ね、褒めて褒めて褒めてっていう、こう、モチベーションの上げ方もあると思うんですよ。でもそれも、なんでしょうね、こう、人に合う合わないはあったとしても、人によっては言われたら嬉しいと思うんですよね。いいことだと思うんですよ。ただなんかこう、褒めすぎると、本当のお褒めの時に、本当に響かない気もして、あとはなんか僕もなんでしょうね、ちょっと基準が高いのかもですね。こう、あ、本当にすごいって思う時は本当に思うんですけど、そう思えない時っていうのは、無理になんかこう、いいところを見つけてフィードバックっていうのは、僕の場合はしてなくて、まあ、だからこそ、頑張らなきゃとか、なんか、ソータさんに褒めてもらうために頑張ろうってなんか思ってくださってる方もいらっしゃるようで、そう、こう、過度に褒めすぎないっていうのは僕は一個気にしてるかなと。ただ、一方で、こう、やっぱりティーチングの現場っていうことなので、何のフィードバックもなければ続けられないと思うんですよね。なので、適度なタイミングで、ここなんかすごい意識されてましたよねとかね、こう気づいたところは必ず伝えるっていうのは意識していて、あるいは本当に変化を感じたときはもう絶対伝えるっていうのは意識してるかなと思いますかね。なので、まあ、フィードバックについてはライリーどうですかっていう、まあ、質問で、ライリーの場合は、リアルカンバセーションにやっぱフォーカスを当てたいっていうのが、まあ、ライリーのこう、やり方っていうことだったので、実際の会話の中でね、グッジョブとか言わないよねと。プラス会話が続いてるっていうことは、ちゃんと伝わってるっていうことなので、それがある意味いいフィードバックの鏡というか、証ということで、まあ、そのまま続けていくっていうことでしたかね。なので、これがフィードバックですよね。あとは僕逆に厳しいフィードバックは伝えますかね。なんかちょっと今の、ポイントが全然出てないですよね。とか、これって前、おっしゃってて、その部分クリアできてないですよね。とか、僕結構そこははっきり言っちゃうかなと思うんですよね。で、人って多分今、英語学習されてる方、レベル高い方もすごい増えてきてると思うので、もちろんそれも人によって変えなきゃいけないですけど、そんななんか褒めて褒めて褒めての方々って少ないと思うんですよね。こう課題を知りたいと思ってる方多いと思うんですよね。なのでそこを見つけ続けるっていうのが僕のその役割なのかなと思うので、そこをお伝えしてることはありますかね。他あるかなRiley, anything else? Nothing.
Um, I think I mean, that's basically it. I'm sure there's other stuff, but those are the main things that I'm focusing on.
うんうんうん。僕は褒めないとそれで厳しいフィードメモしてるやつはちょっと待ってください。トピックを面白く、あとは感情を入れる。Riley, can you make another room?
Yeah.
Thank you. 二つ目のお部屋にやってきました。So lastly, I have another question. So I want to observe this question from a different perspective. What kind of speakers do you want them to be? And I think the way teachers think about that could be related to how we teach our students. So
Mm,
in my case, I want them to be able to speak longer sentences, or talk about something long. So just one sentence or one word. Around the first part, that's okay. If they're beginners, but
sure.
yeah, as time goes by, their skills improve. Then I want them to be specific, or I want them to be a logical person who can emotionally talk about something or who can explain really well. So in my case, long story short, I want them to be able to speak, speak long. That's my ideal. But how about you?
後半に続く